Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my March 2021 book haul part 1. So I did have to split these because I have a lot of books. I bought over 30 books for March. I think there's a lot of factors in why I did that. I wasn't planning to buy that many books, really. It was not the plan, except that I did have a gift card, so I did get some books, for free. I had a few pre-orders that were coming through, and then I added a few that became pre-orders because I kept seeing them online, and I just kept like, oh, I want those, and I just put them on my list. And then I went used bookstore shopping. I had a weekend where I just spent a lot of money, and I think it's because my tax return came in, and I told myself I had this much money to spend on books, and I spent it in the weekend. I did have credit at one of the used bookstores, but and then some books I had bought online and picked up at the store, so then I bought a few more while I was at the store. So most of the books still are new books, but 15 of them are used. So I'm gonna go through the 15 that I got, mostly in that weekend. But a lot of them have trickled in over the month as well, so of the used books. So part 1 is going to be all my used books. So let's start with nonfiction. One of them I got was The Indifferent Stars Above, the harrowing saga of a Donner Party Bride by Daniel James Brown. So this, again, is nonfiction on the Donner Party, and it's, I guess, taking a look from the perspective of one of the women who is there, who was a newlywed who joined the party, I think at kind of the last minute with her family. So this is actually a large print book. I didn't mean to do that when I ordered it online, but it was really cheap. So it was the cheapest copy, and it was still a trade, so I'll deal with it. I also picked up Embracing Defeat, Japan in the Wake of World War II, by John W. Dower. So I've seen this on Shawn, the book Maniac, and it's been on my list for a while, and I found a used copy at Powell's, and so I ordered that, and it's a really nice floppy one, actually. It's like really floppy. Anyway, so again, nonfiction about the aftermath of World War II. I really want the other book he's been talking about, The Only Woman in the Room, about the woman who helped write, I think, the Constitution for Japan, or something like that. I know that's also talked about in here, so I'm going to read this one first, I believe, and then I will still try to get that other book. I just haven't found it where I want to pay for it, so we'll see. But this, again, I've been wanting to get this for a while since he talked about it. I picked up What Jane Austen Ate and Charles Dickens Knew from Fox Hunting to Whist, The Facts of Daily Life in 19th Century England by Daniel Poole. I cannot say that word. Anyway, point is, this one's one of those nonfiction books that kind of, it talks about certain things, in relation to, I think, literary figures and books and things like that. And I don't think it's a book I'm going to read straight through. I might just pull it out and read a little bit here and there over either in Jane Austen July for part of it, or Victober, or nonfiction November. It might be a book that I start and then it just takes me a while to finish it. But I've heard it's not like the best book on this, but it's interesting at least. So I don't know, I got it used. So anyway, really anything with both their names on it, I'm going to pick up. It just sounds good. And I finally got a copy of Black Count, Glory, Revolution, Betrayal, and the Real Count of Monte Cristo by Tom Rees. So this is a book that I have been looking for at least a year, of just trying to find a used copy, and I have not found it at my used bookstores. I finally just bought one off of eBay when I saw this recently on Kim at middle of the book March, and I'm like, I need that book, and I finally just decided to buy it. I think it was like later that day or the next day. I was like, I'll just buy one. So this tells about General Alex Dumas, who is the father of the author Alexander Dumas, and so it talks about his growing up in Haiti, and then how he comes to Paris, and I'm sure it has something to do with Napoleon and stuff. So I'm pretty sure it's that time period. Anyway, the point is that it's a history about, I've been wanting to read about this, so I'm hoping to get to this sometime this year. I'm excited about that one. I also got, then going into nonfiction, or not, historical fiction, I got Alison Weir's Innocent Traitor, which is a novel about Lady Jane Grey. So this is, again, the 9 Days Princess, or Queen, or whatever you call it. Her family just kind of put her through the ringer, and she kind of takes the fall for everything. Anyway, so again, this is, it's a story about her. So I'm always curious. Again, I love the movie back in the 80s. So maybe there's some of that in there too, but I haven't read a whole lot. Like I have a nonfiction book, is it The Crown of Blood? I'm not sure, but I want to read that too. So I kind of want to read them kind of in conjunction or close together. So we'll see. Again, Lady Jane Grey is always one of those ones I'm not huge on reading about the royals. I like to read some of the stuff in the old, like the Hooters and stuff like that. But it's like, for some reason, she's always been a fascination because she is out of her control, the things that were done, and she, paid the consequences for what other people decided to do with her. So it's just, anyway, but I want to read that. And then I picked up 2 more Alexander Dumas books because I'm reading The Count of Monte Cristo. So I am just like deciding to add to my collection because I think I'm just going to focus on him. I expect to read more than just The Count of Monte Cristo this year. I'm hoping to read several of his novels, and then maybe next year read even more. So I want to get as many of them as that I don't have right now. So one of them is Queen Margot, which is one of his history ones that is in, I think it follows Catherine de Medici and somebody else. I can't remember how it all works, like how the history. It's like 1572 though it starts. It also is called Lorraine. Is it Lorraine? I don't know. Margot. So I guess there must have been a movie. I don't even know. I'll have to look for it after I read it. But again, it's one of his history ones, and again, I want to read some of his other stuff. I'm not actually sure if it's in one of the series. So I know there's some of the series that we don't have it all published or translated to where I can get to it, so we'll have to see. I'm going to do more research on Alexander Dumas. So if you know a lot of his books, which ones, let me know if there's ones that you like. Because again, I'm reading the D'Artagnan romances. I'm in the middle of that right now, and right now I'm reading The Count of Monte Cristo. So I have a whole bunch of other ones I want to read, and I'm collecting them. So the other one I got was The Last Cavalier, being The Adventures of Count Saint-Germain in the Age of Napoleon by Alexander Dumas. So I'm excited for this one because this is about in Napoleon. So and again, I just love Alexander Dumas, and I need to read more of his books. I mean, Three Musketeers is one of my favorite books, and The Count of Monte Cristo is definitely getting on that list fairly soon for the way it's going. So I need to read more of his books. So if you have books of his that are not Count of Monte Cristo or the D'Artagnan romances, if there's books that you've read that you really liked, let me know, and maybe I need to get them. Let me know. I also got a book from Liz Sherbert. She was doing on Instagram. She was unhauling a lot of books and put some up that we could ask if we wanted to get. And she kindly sent me this book that I asked for. Is An Irish Country Doctor by Patrick Taylor. So this is one of more of those like quiet novels, I think, about just a town in Northern Ireland. And then again, but I don't know what the time period is. So I guess I'll know more about it when I read it. But it's one of those books where it just sounds like, the quiet small town and relationships in that area. And again, it's a series, so there's quite a few books in the series. I don't know how many. I just know that I wanted to get the first one to try it. So, but she was kind enough to send that to me. So thank you, Liz. And then I went to Goodwill one day because somebody was talking about their great thrifting deals. So I said, well, I'll stop there on the way home from work. And the only one I found that was even interested, that I wanted to get was An Unwanted Guest by Shara Lapina. This is like the only one of her books that even attracted me to it because, again, it has to do with the hotel that people get stuck at in a snowstorm and somebody dies. So those are the kind like that. I don't like domestic domestic thrillers. I like more the mysteries where, you know, people are dying, but, you know, they're stuck. So, I've heard, you know, I've a few mixed reviews on this, but mostly good. So I was going to give that a shot because I got it pretty cheap. And then I picked up Gilead by Marion Robinson. Again, everybody's talked about this in the last couple months because the next book had come out in this series. This is one of those books I've always known about, but I haven't ever picked up. And the more I heard about it, I'm like, well, I should really try it. I'm not sure it's going to be for me, but I got it for $1. So I thought I'll give it a shot. So we'll see. So it has to do with the, I think a reverend who is dying, and he's writing, I think it's kind of a memoir thing to his young son, because he doesn't expect to be around long. So I don't know. That's about all I know. I don't know. I know a lot of people love it. I don't know if I'm going to love it, but I got it for $1. And then the last section is all the fantasy stuff I got. I picked up Stormglass by Jeff Wheeler. So this is one of those authors that's promoted on Amazon a lot. So I don't know if he publishes through Amazon or something, but I see him recommended to me a lot. And this is actually the one that I had on my wish list, like to get it as an ebook. So since I saw the physical, I just picked this up. So this has to do with the world that there's like the sky mansions, and the people with magic and power are up there, and then the people who are below, who are the less privileged and work in the factories and are low. And then I think somebody is from the world below, but then some reason she gets elevated, and I don't know what's going on beyond that. But anyway, so I think this is the first book in the Hairbringer series. So we'll see. I'm interested to see what happens. He has a lot of series, and I've heard a lot about the other books too, but this was the one that I had first had put on my wish list. So it was kind of interesting that I found it there used. I also picked up the Gormanheist novels by is it Mervyn Peake? Sorry, Peake. Mervyn. Anyway, I've heard about these. As I said, they kind of compare them to not Tolkien, but like another kind of thing. Like, you know, a lot of people have read them. That like they're just a big fantasy series. Titus Groan, Gormanheist, and Titus Alone. So I don't know a whole lot about this. I just have wanted to get a copy to at least try. Again, I'm very big on trying things that are like other people have talked about as their favorites, or, you know, that are older. And so I'm not quite sure when these are published, actually, now that I think about it. Looks like 40s, no, 50s. 40s, yeah, 46, 50, and 59. So anyway, so I'm really interested to see this. If you guys have read this, let me know. I'm just want to at least try it. I don't know anything about it. I just figure it was a fantasy that, and a lot of people have talked about them. So I actually don't know what these are about. So anyway, I'd like to do that, read those. I picked up 2 books in the Event Group Thrillers series. So by David L. Goldman. I have a lot of the books. There's might be 1 or 2 that I stopped buying because I wasn't reading them. I've read the first 5 or 6 books in this series. It's an adventure series that follows a group of military people from the U.S. who deal with kind of supernatural events. The first book, Event, takes the military has to deal with an alien crash, and the series is so weird because there's like some really good ones, and some, you know, there's some, I think there's even one about Sasquatch, and I know one went into the jungles for, you know, something going on there. I can't remember. I read them so many years ago, but I think I don't think he's being traditionally published anymore for this series. I think these are different that way. So again, I have the other books, so I don't have them all. These are 2 that I had on my list of ebooks to get, so I just picked them up since I could get them physically. So I don't know. And again, that's Empire of the Dragon and The Season of the Witch. So I don't know which is which and how many books are missing in between. I don't know. And then the last book I picked up, I shouldn't have, because it's the second book in a series, The Chronicles of the Unhewn Throne. So this is the Providence of Fire. Yeah, by Brian Saverly. So I have the first book, The Emperor's Blades, which follows 3 siblings who are dealing with the aftermath, I think, of the king, their father, or the emperor is killed or dies, and then I think they're all trying to find their way. So this is book 2. I've heard really good things about this series. I just haven't read it yet. So, but I haven't read the first book, but I found this second book in such great condition and I had credit, so I just picked it up. So, if you guys have read The Emperor's Blade and you think I should, definitely pick it up. Let me know. I really want to get to this series. This is one of the ones I'd like to read this year. Because again, it's one of those ones where there's 3 books and then I think the series continues, but like with different people, I think. I'm not quite sure. He's kind of a big world, I think, of his too. But these books I'd like to try. Anyway, so so that was not my best buy because, again, it's the second time in 2 months that I picked up the second book to a series I haven't read yet. And I don't usually do that. I usually wait to be in a series before I start buying all the books. But anyway. So those are all the used books I got from various different places, different used bookstores, online, and stuff like that. So if there's anything that you think I should read sooner rather than later, let me know. Anything that was one of your favorites or that I definitely need to pick up, let me know. And I will have another book haul probably at the beginning of April for the rest of my books that I got in March, because I'm waiting for a couple pre-orders to come in. But I'm hoping I'm not going to buy that much in April, but we make no promises. Anyway, so I will see you guys later. Bye.